Okay, question 6, we are simplifying some surds with algebra in. So for A, it's that numerator I've got to be careful of. So just don't forget that both the 2 and the root x need to be raised to the power of 4. So 2 to the power of 4 is 2, 4, 8, 16. Root x to the power of 4, well, you might want to rewrite that as a power of a half, and then you can just multiply the powers together, or you may just want to think, well, root x multiplied by itself 4 times, or root x times root x is x, times another root x times root x is x squared. But if you prefer to write it as I have here, x to the power of a half and then to a power of 4, you're going to multiply those powers, and then the final thing is I can cancel through by that x in the denominator. Okay, B is actually rationalizing the denominator question, so very similar to earlier on this homework, but you cannot just plug this straight into your calculator. So 3 root x over 1 minus root x. So I'm going to multiply through by 1 plus root x over 1 plus root x. Okay, so it's rationalizing the denominator. So whatever's in the denominator, you multiply numerator and denominator through by the same thing, but with the sign changed. Okay, so this is a good way for them to make sure that you cannot just stick it into your fancy new calculator that will rationalize the denominator of numerical ones. So for now, I'm just going to write my numerator factorized like that, and I'll come back to that shortly. So the denominator, I have got 1 times 1, which is 1. I have got 1 times root x, which is root x. I have got minus 1 times 1, sorry, minus root x times 1. That's minus root x. And I have got minus root x times root x. So that's going to be minus x. Okay, and again, those middle 2 terms are going to cancel, so if you just didn't write those out at all, that would be absolutely fine. So I've got 3 root x, brackets 1 plus root x, and then on the denominator, I've got 1 minus x. Okay, the only other thing I can do there is multiply those brackets out in the numerator. So 3 root x times 1 is 3 root x, and 3 root x times root x, well, root x times root x is x, so I could write it like that. Okay, and then part C, so again, we're rationalizing the denominator, so I need to look at, so yeah, we rationalize the denominator, so I need to look at what's on the denominator and multiply through by the same thing, with the sign changed, so that's going to be 3 minus root x. Okay, so I'm going to use FOIL. You might want to use grid method. So I've got first is 3x. I've got outer is minus x root x. So I'll come back and think about whether I can simplify that in a bit. So I've got minus 2 root x times 3. And I've got minus 2 root x times minus root x. So that's going to become a positive, and root x times root x is going to become x. Okay, and then on the denominator, I've got 3 times 3. The next 2 terms are going to cancel. So I've got 3 times minus root x, and I've got 3 times root x, and they will cancel. And then I've got plus root x times minus root x. That's going to give me minus x. So on the numerator, I've got 3x plus 2x, so that's 5x. These two, I mean, they do share a common factor of root x, but I'm fine. Leave them like that for now, and then I'll just consider at the end whether there's any sensible simplifying to do. In the denominator, those middle 2 terms are cancelling, so it's 9 minus x. And I think that's probably the most sensible way to leave that answer.